We're on a mission from God. That is the most important line in the 1980s movie, The Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers is a 1980s movie which incorporates blues music, blues culture, and blues artists themselves into a story about two enchanted religious individuals relying on their faith and their community to get through a disenchanted modern world. The movie gives a unique criticism of modernity. It shows how there's pockets of this religious enchantment within it, while showing that this disenchanted modern rational world is often incredibly irrational. Before I get any further into it, to give you a quick summary of what the Blues Brothers movie actually is, we start off with our two main characters, the Blues Brothers, Jake and Elwood. Jake is leaving jail at the time, and he meets up with Elwood, and they go to St. Helen's Roman Catholic Orphanage. At the orphanage, they learn that St. Helen's needs to raise $5,000 to pay for their county municipal taxes. The church isn't going to help them, their community isn't going to help them, and if they don't raise this money, they'll be shut down forever. Jake and Elwood take it upon themselves to decide that they will raise this $5,000, but they're told by the head nun before leaving that they are, and I quote this actually, let me pull up the real full quote, disappointing, filthy thieves with bad attitudes, and that they cannot come back until they redeem themselves. The rest of the movie is them going on a journey to get the band back together to raise $5,000 in a show to pay for the church's taxes. And in doing so, they get themselves in jail along the way. The Blues Brothers is best understood through the lenses of two different readings. Charles Taylor's A Secular Age and Josephson-Storm's The Myth of Disenchantment. We're going to begin with Joseph-Storm and The Myth of Disenchantment. In his essay, he discusses how the modern world is actually enchanted. While we do say that the modern world is disenchanted, there's this disconnection from religion and mythos and belief, there's evidence that it still exists, that we still rely on it in many ways, such as the myth of the Enlightenment itself, being something that we rely on, that we have faith in. However, Max Weber disagrees with this. Max Weber claims that the modern world is completely disenchanted, that there's a separation from religion and faith-based ideology and a connection more towards scientific and observation-based and evidence-based discovery, that we don't rely on our faith and our religious belief and the spirituality anymore, but rather we rely on our observational senses and skills. This in turn, the Blues Brothers at times supports both Max Weber and Joseph-Storm. It does this through a number of ways. It supports Max Weber by showing how the modern world itself is disenchanted. It shows how modern society itself really is disconnected from religion and faith and is focused on this form of rational thought. It shows this through the discounting of St. Helen's Orphanage, through the modern world not really focusing any at all on the faith or community or cultural aspects in this movie, and focusing mostly on stopping the Blues Brothers because they're labeled as bad. The main antagonists of this movie are rational modern characters. The county tax collector, the police force in the movie, these are all rational modern systems facing against irrational actors, the Blues Brothers, who often win due to their irrationality and faith. The movie also supports Joseph-Storm by showing how culture and community can really keep this religious enchantment alive. It shows this through musical scenes. One of the first scenes in the movie in the Baptist church, which I'll touch on more in a little bit, shows how music itself and community and culture can revive religion, and not even revive it, but just keep it alive. Charles Taylor, The Buffer itself, is also very applicable to this movie. It discusses how community and culture and other people within our lives can help keep our lives enchanted, how the modern world disconnects us from this and keeps us buffered and keeps us focused on the internal, rather than being the pre-modern porous self, which is influenced by both religion, culture, community, by a number of outside influences, which can believe and really feel the world in this spiritual and religious way. All three of these thinkers from these two readings are very applicable to the Blues Brothers, and all three of them help illustrate how the Blues Brothers takes pre-modern characters in a modern world and uses this to really critique the modern world. The Blues Brothers is a film about religion. The main characters, James and Elwood, the Blues Brothers, are religious, enchanted individuals. They are, when looking through Joseph-Storm and Max Weber's discussion, the enchanted pre-modern individuals. They are driven by faith throughout the whole film. This belief in this faith is their driving force, is what carries them through and what allows them to accomplish what they are trying to accomplish. From the very start of the movie, they are charged with redeeming themselves religiously on top of raising $5,000 to save St. Helen's Roman Catholic Orphanage. The Blues Brothers go to a Baptist church where Jake, one of the Blues Brothers, has a moment with God where he is spoken to, essentially, and told that he needs to get the band back together to raise his $5,000 in a way that'll redeem him in the eyes of God. And from there, we get the most important line in the movie. We're on a mission from God. That's my best Dan Aykroyd. It's not good at all. But the Blues Brothers essentially use this line, we're on a mission from God, in the defensive. They use it whenever they reach into a roadblock or a stoppage on their journey. The first time it's used is when the Blues Brothers are seemingly being chased into a corner by the local police. And after this is said, and the specific line is, they're not going to catch us, we're on a mission from God. I can't say it without doing the voice. But when they're backed into a corner and they say this line, they find a way out. They end up driving through the mall. The police officers in the movie act as the main antagonists, and they're intended to be very rational actors. But it is seen that in their attempts at being rational actors seeking justice, they do the irrational constantly. They cause more destruction than if they weren't even fulfilling their purpose. They end up failing at their one job until the end of the movie after the Blues Brothers have already succeeded in what they were trying to do. The "we're on a mission from God" line shows that the Blues Brothers will not fail or will succeed in their purpose. It's their total faith and belief that they will succeed in their purpose because of their faith in religion. They are pre-modern in this connection to religion, and the police in this movie, one of the main antagonists, are shown to be these modern rationalistic individuals who fail at their attempts at being rational. They fail and they show a flaw in what the Blues Brothers is trying to convey is a flaw in modern society, and that is over focus on rationality when the irrational often succeed. Another topic that the Blues Brothers focuses heavily on is community. The pre-modern community existed filled with members that were porous. They could be affected by each other, their beliefs, and their systems. This is according to Charles Taylor's The Secular Age. The pre-modern community, the religious and enchanted one, was influenced by each other, by culture, by music, by art, and most importantly, by the spiritual and religious beliefs of those around them in the world that they lived in. The Blues Brothers comments on this specifically by showing a pre-modern community of that sort within the blues community. Pre-modern only in the sense that they are enchanted, that they have these beliefs about them and that they have this value in music and spirituality in general. The Blues Brothers shows this by having the Blues Brothers themselves have to form a community to succeed. They have to get the band back together. They have to reconnect and work with those people that were around them. They're defined by their goal to connect with their community, and that is done through music. The musical numbers in the movie serve to move the plot forward by having the Blues Brothers use them to connect with people. The scene at the music store. The Blues Brothers have to connect with the music shop owner, who is played by Ray Charles. I get the names mixed up in this movie. Ray Charles plays the blind music shop owner, and it is through the musical number done with the Blues Brothers and the members of their band that they had gathered together through their community that they connect with Ray Charles and form a bond with him, and this spirit is what allows them to rent out the musical instruments to play their show. Without this connection in this community, they would have failed. Blues Brothers critiques modern society's disconnect with their community. People like the tax collector have no clue about St. Helen's Orphanage, and they are not willing to help because they don't feel like members of the same community. There's a devaluing of community in this movie. This movie comments on the modern disenchanted life negatively. It interprets it through both Josephson-Storm and his writing on the myth of disenchantment and his disagreements with Max Weber, and through the idea of Charles Taylor's The Secular Age and how this disenchantment isn't just religious, but it's done through societal connections and these community bonds that are built up. Because of this disconnection between each, the movie does an excellent job really digging into those philosophies there. But on top of that, it's an amazing film. The Blues Brothers uses blues culture and actors and artists and really revived the blues music scene in the 80s. it did an amazing job of that. And not only does it have great dry comedy and amazing cast and wonderful musical numbers, but it just has a good message all around that people can be redeemed through their actions, that you can be redeemed through doing things to redeem yourself. The Blues Brothers is an amazing movie for this reason, and really delves into these topics of religious faith and secularism and the conflicts between the modern bureaucratic societies and those living in it who are still connected to this community and this pre-modern concept of enchantment.